Hi there guys, Junky here, and today we're going to be playing some Rome 2 Total War multiplayer, and I'm using one of the new factions that's been released in the Hannibal at the Gates DLC. I'm actually struggling to remember what these guys are actually called, but they're the Arevaci or something like that. They're one of the Spanish barbarian factions, and I thought that I'd give them a go. They do have some units, some guerrilla units that can deploy outside of the zone, but I haven't brought any of those in this battle. So we'll get started off by just running for the armies. On the left side, hidden in the forest, I've got two Cantabrian cavalry. These are light skirmish units. It says that they're good archery, but they're holding spears at the moment. Don't see any bows here at all. And then I've got a unit of Iberian swordsmen here. There's the kind of cheapest, lowest quality sword unit that you can get with this faction. Now, I'm fighting Carthage, so this should explain why I've got this build in the centre. I was expecting him to bring elephants and generally be quite a cavalry and large, heavy. So I bought a main line of 4 Scutari spearmen, which are the most expensive spearmen that this faction can buy. They don't have too bad of stats. Their melee defense is very, very good. They've got a strong bonus versus large, so they should do quite nicely. And then for swords, I've got two Scutari units, which are these bad boys right here with the cool helmets. Yeah, and there's the Scutari spearmen. I've got 2 units of skirmishers. They were also for doing a bit more damage to heavy infantry and the elephants as well. 2 units of skirmishers, and then I've got 3 units of these noble cavalry, which are heavy melee, not shock cavalry. The noble horse on the Carthaginian side is shock cavalry, so it's not good in a sustained fight. And these are the cream of the crop right here. These guys. Whoa, what's happened? Ah! I'm trying to show you a nice little close-up of my noble fighters here. These guys are tough as nails. They're my veterans that I'll be relying on for when the fight gets started. But we've kicked it off now. You'll see I'm playing on the Pella map, and I didn't see any reason not to go and claim this hill. I figured that I need any advantages against any elephants that I came across, and he didn't actually bring any, which props to my opponent for doing that, because some people can see that they're quite a cheap unit. On his left flank, he's got 1 unit of noble cavalry in his general, and 2 units of these Carthaginian horse. They're not so bad. They're pretty average melee cavalry. Nothing to write home about. And he's got 4 units of Sacred Band in the middle, a very elite spear infantry, and 3 units of these Balearic slingers, as well as 2 units of Libyan infantry as well. So you'll see that my my opponent's gone for a little bit more of a elite heavy army, quite expensive, these units. I think Sacred Band is over 1,000 a piece. These noble cavalry will be his two, and he's got a dog to help him, which is pretty sick. Like how no one's killing this wolf that's just running through. It's pretty badass. Okay, so to start off the fight, I noticed that he was leaving some of these guys quite far forward without any skirmisher support, and I honestly hadn't used these Cantabrian cavalry before, so I wanted to see how decent they were. We got a fair few shots into these Libyans, got rid of quite a lot of our ammunition and not for many kills. So these guys are mostly going to be harassing and trying to force my opponent's hand. Got a few kills with them, but nothing too dangerous. Didn't really want to get in a melee engagement on that side, so I did move up my Iberian swordsmen to support the rest of my army. You'll see here that I'm starting to advance slightly down the hill, but I will be playing out the flanks, as always, to see if I can get an advantage. At the start of the game, I thought I was pretty down on quality of skirmishers and quality of infantry. I really wasn't sure how well these Scutaris would do against the elite Sacred Band. So I was quite, not timid, but I was trying to get a strong advantage before I really got the main engagement on the way. So this is why I'm being quite stationary, moving around my horsemen to try and get a few kills where I can, attempting to make a mistake where you can as well. If I was my opponent, I would have moved up all my skirmishers into this wood line, put the spears behind, and just started to engage, because his slingers are so much better than mine. Mine are like 200, his are like 600, they've got infinitely better reload skill. Let's see here, missile damage 15, shots per minute 7, ammunition 25, these guys, shots per minute 8, missile damage 25, 150, 150, so they're doing a lot, getting a lot more punch out of each of their shots. I continue to tempt him on his right flank. Ideally, I don't want to be getting shot at by these Balearic slingers, because they'll just rip apart my horses. These guys, if you'll see, very, very light armor, only in armor rating of 15, so these guys are going to take missile punishment pretty badly if they get stuck in. I do have my guys grouped in the main force, which is why if I try and switch formation, moving back, you do tend to spaz out a little bit. I noticed that he's moving up one unit of his slingers, which is quite isolated. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get in close with my Cantabrian cavalry and see if I can get a melee charge on the go. His spears are quite far behind, so I reckon I should be able to do quite well. Always try and support your skirmishers with infantry if you can. But these Libyan infantry will be a little bit too late. I get a solid few shots into these guys. Dropped 20 in that volley, Jesus Christ. And I managed to catch these few as well. I do pull out the charge, but horrendous damage on his slingers from that volley. At the time I didn't even realise. I have only just played this battle and I'm just left after a few games to come back and do some commentary for you, but I really didn't realise how effective these volleys were. So I'm going to withdraw my skirmish cavalry away from his slingers to save them for later. You may have seen a little flash of Carthaginian cavalry. There they are, trying to move fast behind me. I do notice that they're there at some point before they do any damage, but these guys get isolated, move forward again, get some shots off. Now I move forward one unit of my noble horse on this side to see if I can bait in his Carthaginians on the right side. Ideally I was just trying to get these horse units out of the way. I did check the stats, you can see that my guys are a lot better, so once they do get into this fight they're going to be doing really well. But once I get his horsemen out of the way, I can really start to choose where we start the melee fight, as I'm not familiar with these troops and I wasn't very sure how well they do. We get within dangerous range and I hit a frenzied charge. We drop quite a few of these guys. We managed to pin one of the units as the other one tries to retreat, but I keep clicking those attack orders through and he decides to turn back and take the engagement, while I slip my general unit through the middle and into his skirmishers here. And these guys are going to be absolutely torn up with my slingers helping as well. I'm going to keep moving my general through without using frenzy charge, so he doesn't get too tired. And we'll do some serious damage to these skirmishers. And we managed to rout one of these Carthaginians on this side. I'm going to rout the other one as well. So done a lot of damage off the bat in the first main engagement. Basically eliminated one of his units of horse, beaten the shit out of another one and seriously damaged, if not routed, 2 units of his slingers, so I'm looking in good stead so far. He does move up one of his sacred bands, so I withdraw my heavy horse back towards my lines and at the same time move down the hill with my main army. I noticed that he's spread out. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just been trying to respond to my actions and isn't in a good place to receive a decent engagement, so I'm going to start to move these guys down. He does click a charge order on my light horse. I do decide to split these guys up whilst moving over a unit of my Scutari spearmen and a unit of my javelins to help out. I'm hoping that the slope will render most of his charge completely useless, but to make sure that he doesn't get away, we're going to throw a few spears down and then we're going to pin this guy down with our light horse. I'm not going to do too well in this fight in a prolonged engagement, but once I got my spears in, they're using anti-cavalry tactics there to win this fight even quicker. I'm going to move out my light horse so they don't take too much damage in that melee fight, loop them round and then charge them into the back to finish those guys off. All the time with chucking javelins at him, and then we charge in. Boom. These guys will not stand for much longer. And we'll rout off the field, which is perfect for us because now he's only got this depleted unit of Carthaginians and his general left. But he does have those elite units of spears. Maybe if they were elite sword infantry, I'd actually have more to worry about because the attack would be so much higher. And these guys that I've got, the swordsmen apart from my noble fighters at the back, I mean, they're not terrible. They're not terrible by any means, but in a prolonged fight, 15 armor against elites with probably better stats than these noble fighters, so they got 65 armor, 56 weapon damage. It's crazy. They would not stand for very long. You can see I've got a pretty disorganised formation so far. I'm going to start to sort it out and draw some main battle lines. I understand that this guy is not going to leave this forest, and that's absolutely fine for me. Yes, I will not get as many kills as my skirmishers, but this is not a skirmish heavy army. I've got 2 Iberian slingers basically just to keep him busy, and these skirmishers were purely for cavalry and elephants. So you'll see I'm moving up these light horse again to continue the harassment of his troops. Nothing significant, but it's making him reorganise his army and not be able to draw up any solid line of defence. And at this point I bound my entire army forward, probably a bit too close, but I figured that not really going to be skirmishing for that much longer, might as well have them a bit closer so they're a little bit more accurate and effective. And then you'll see moving around my heavy horse on the right side, and I'm going to start to move forward these Iberian swordsmen. These guys are going to be my bait. They're going to be my guys that are going to charge into the slingers. Then I changed my mind. I realised that the cavalry are getting shot the fuck out of, so I retreat those back, and I start presenting a united front with my spearmen. They'll take the main line in the centre, right in front of his sacred band, and they'll hold there for now. And I'm going to move a unit of swords to either side, and move my Iberians and my Scutari onto this side as well. Notice that this Carthaginian cavalry is isolated, so I do charge in my lighter horse. They're not going to win this fight, but again, it allows me to move in my spears, which will put me in very, very good stead. Apart from the fact that these Libyans are charging in, they will tear my spearmen to pieces, so I'm going to assist with these 2 units of lighter swords, Scutari and Iberian swordsmen. At the same time, I managed to charge one of my spear units right past his infantry line and into his slingers. And on the right side, I managed to get a strong frenzy charge in on this unit of Libyan infantry, whilst keeping his sacred band out of the fight for now. I'll loop round my general. The initial idea was to smack his, but I want to get this fight finished and done, so I'm going to do a frenzy charge there. I'm raising the banner, rallying my troops because I know they're taking some punishment. He scoots forward his sacred band, and this is when I start to move in my infantry. I withdraw my horsemen away from his spears, charge in my scutaris and my swords on this flank as well. At this point he's only got 3 units of these sacred band, and they are getting pounded at close range with my skirmishers and my slingers. I lose 1 unit of spears on the side and his cavalry rout off the field, and we're taking down these Libyans as well. And a general was about to get charged by his noble cavalry, but we'll assist him in 1 second. Our noble cavalry from the right flank of the engagement will do a little counter charge, hammer and anvil strike into the rear of these troops, and I'm going to peel over 1 unit to assist my general, who is losing badly on this side. Once again, get him engaged, withdraw my general. Cycling out the units that I can't bear to lose with units that are a little bit more expendable. My skirmishers do run out of ammunition at this point, so I go ahead and charge them into this unengaged unit of a sacred band and this unit of scutari spearmen, which attack the skirmishers, smack into the back of those as well. And in the centre, my noble fighters are going head to head with his sacred band. They're doing very, very well, and these scutari spearmen are holding his other sacred band, while I wrap up the flank on his far right. After I withdrew my leader, I got him straight back into the fight and charged in with these noble cavalry. Both my cavalry units are exceptionally exhausted though, because of all the frenzy charges that they've been doing. So I do withdraw those out. Look how slow they're moving. And slam in these scutari spearmen to help pin down the general and get the last few of those horses down. Skirmishers, as expected, rout in the face of elite spear infantry, but my scutaris are there to continue to pin them down as I isolate and destroy the rest of his army. And those 2 units of cavalry that we put up from the left slam into his centre and most damaged unit. And that will start the main route here. These guys will stand for a bit because they're elite. And that is it. So that's one of the first few games of Rome 2 that I've played with some of the new factions in Hannibal at the Gates. I'm really enjoying the Iberian barbarian factions. I was quite annoyed when they weren't in from the start, because they've got quite interesting setups. They've got a few units that can deploy outside of the deployment zone and that sort of thing, and they've got great horsemen, and that's all I really need. So I will leave it here for now. We're going to do another replay in the next video. So if you enjoyed this one and want to see more, please leave a like, a comment, and if it was really that good, please subscribe for a little more. This has been Junky signing off for now, and we will see you soon. Goodbye.